Hi YouTube, it's Nebros. We're back with another reaction video today. I wanted to see this about something about Silksong. I'm pretty sure it's to do with the latest release of the Hollow Knight DLC or expansion or whatever. Didn't see much about it, so I wanted to see what this was about. Before we get into it, remember to comment, like, or subscribe, or do all three so your view counts as an engaged viewer. And check to make sure your restricted mode is off. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on a lot of videos from your favorite creators that way. Or could. Anyway, let's get into it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So, over the past year or so, there has been a sort of assembly line of AAA flops in the gaming industry.
Ah, there's
Games
Concord.
that have cost once legendary studios hundreds of millions of dollars and countless layoffs. And what's made those failures even more embarrassing for these companies is the fact that a lot of indie games during that time have had immense levels of success with development teams
Yeah.
that you
Oh,
can
look, there's
typically
Hollow
count
Knight.
on one hand in terms of the number of developers needed to make these breakout hits. Now,
Yep.
of course, we have seen
In a perfect example of too many cooks spoil the broth.
the recent release of Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the sequel to the previous Hollow Knight game that sold around 15 million copies back in
Mm-hmm.
2017. And this game was recently announced in terms of its release date. It was announced only about 2 weeks before September 4th when this game was released. And at a $20 price point, I don't think it's
That's
really
not
too
bad.
surprising to add up all those factors. And when you look at the success, it just adds up, right? Right now, nearly 500,000 in game players. Here's the chart so far over the first couple of days.
568,120 24-hour in-game peak. Damn.
Every day peaking over 500K. This is a massive, massive success. And again, looking at the total picture, all the factors involved, I don't think a lot of people are really surprised by this. In fact, things are probably going better than a lot of people expected, especially around that $20 price point.
Yep.
It's really that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Come out with a good, enjoyable experience and give it
Well,
a reasonable price.
let's check this out. $20 times, let's say they were up to over 580,000, so we'll do 590,000. Let's see, there's units, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, $10 million or rather $11 million they've made in what, 2, 3 weeks? Yeah. And how much do you think the game cost to actually produce anyway? Like, okay, so for like major Hollywood productions, let's look at the Acolyte for example, like $400 million price tag to just to produce it. I think video games cost a hell of a lot less, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, they've made their money back and then some. I'm pretty damn sure of that.
And people will really look fondly upon your game and your company. In fact, Silksong is doing so well, even known game pirates are encouraging
That's
people to
amazing.
just buy it instead
Yeah, pirates are like, you know what? If you can't afford $20, we're not gonna pirate it for you anyway. So just buy it instead.
of steal it, which is pretty unheard of. On top of that, some other fans are hoping to give more money than the
They
$20 they
underpaid for the
already
game
gave
and
because
want
they
to
think it
give
was
Team
worth
Cherry more money.
more than
Wow.
that $20 price point. So clearly, a lot of goodwill has been generated here,
Mm-hmm.
along with a lot of sales. Now, this has been a total disruption for the gaming industry. It has served as a major embarrassment for a lot of the AAA titles, and
As it
also a
should.
lot of indie developers are really scratching their heads and trying to figure out how to fix what's going on, including having to delay and postpone their release dates because they were caught off guard by this last minute release date announcement from Silksong, and they believe they are being dwarfed by the success and there won't be any attention left for them. But this is all crazy because you think about what's going on in the industry and how crazy things have gotten with these bloated budgets and huge teams working on games that end up flopping. Then you look at Team Cherry, who's responsible for Hollow Knight Silksong. and their core development team consists of 3 dudes.
Yeah.
It's just 3 people who are responsible for a game that is literally disrupting the industry right now, and it's pretty impressive. Then you look around at like Ubisoft and the other usual suspects who are trying to push the idea.
Yeah, they got game development teams in the thousands of people, don't they? That's probably why World of Warcraft quality's gone downhill over the years because they've got, again, too many cooks spoil the broth.
Of quadruple A price points, trying to sell you on games like Skull and Bones with nearly.
And actually, when companies have a workforce that big, it's no wonder they want to hike the prices of their games up because they've got so many salaries to cover and whatnot. Um, their overheads must be huge. You got a workforce of over 1,000 people working on your game. It's no wonder they want to start pushing $100 plus for a game because the overheads must alone be killers.
$1 billion budgets, and then being completely shocked when, well, people don't feel like they have to give their money over to these companies. And they're also the ones trying to convince you that you should get used to not owning your games. But then they get.
Yeah, and then the quality of the games you pay, the quality of the games you buy for those overinflated price points is actually just not worth even half of what you paid for it. I mean, look at Dragon Age: The Veilguard. They can't even. I heard it's free on Xbox Game Pass right now. They're including it with certain purchases and whatnot. They can't even give the thing away because it's garbage.
Squashed by these indie developers, and it's honestly pretty cathartic to see.
Mm.
On top of that, the future doesn't look too bright for some other AAA releases. Marathon is one that was supposed to disrupt the shooting game scene, and we've seen how that's been playing out. A lot of the gameplay
I never
and
heard of it
designs
before.
have been heavily criticized and left people very underwhelmed, and their initial release date was supposed to be towards the end of September. That has been delayed. Probably good news for them because Silksong would have also pushed them a bit too. And you compare what's going on with Silksong just kind of dropping when it's ready and people flock to it. Then you have Bungie offering $500 gift cards to people who participate in the next playtest. They have to pay people $500 to just want to playtest this game.
I mean, I'd
It
go
is
for
going
it.
to be such a
$500 could
disaster,
go a
but you
long
would
way for
think
me.
maybe there's something to learn here. If you look
Oh, but
around
it's
at
a gift
everything
card, so never
happening
mind.
with Silksong, other indie games, and the scene generally, maybe there's some lessons to be learned. Well, not according to these journalists.
If it was $500 up, just cold hard cash, I'd do it. Let's see. Let's go back here. 500 USD to ZAR. I mean, that's more money than I've ever earned in my life before. So yeah, $500 raw cash, I'd take it. Yeah, we're here.
Who are trying their best to not sound as petty as they really are. You can see this coming from Eurogamer. Is Hollow Knight Silksong's cheap price a problem for other indie games?
No.
Devs and publishers weigh up its impact. In quotes here, people have less money now and are buying fewer games. End quote. Wow. Who saw that coming? What are you telling me that people will spend $20 on an enjoyable experience over overpriced slop? That's crazy. But you can see the narrative being set here. It's not just about the bloated AAA games out there. It's also indie developers who are responding.
So people have less money now and are buying fewer games. So explain to me why people want to charge, why like they want to they want to charge like $100 for GTA 6, right? So if people earn less money now and why do they want to keep hiking the price up?
Let's just say not the best to this sudden release date that was shared about 2 weeks ago. And well, they've been taking it to Blue Sky. Here is
Of
a
course.
developer of a different indie project here, Unbeatable, where they say that Silksong honestly should have cost $40, and I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
They go
maybe.
so far as to say it's bad, it doesn't, but it will have effects, and not all those effects are good. So right off the bat, they're trying to basically say Hello, how do you do, fellow gamers? We should increase the price of this game. Are you on board? No.
Well, people said they feel like they should have paid more for it because it's that good. So that's a hell of a good thing. That's a hell of a good thing for Silksong, but yeah, his logic is flawed here.
No gamer is going to look at this and say,
Hello.
oh, yeah, this game should be $40 for sure. No, I think we've just been so hammered down with bloated pricing where $20 seems pretty incredible for an indie game even. And I'm glad people are responding so well. There's something to be learned here, but they're trying to say that this price point, because the game is so successful, is going to cause issues for other indie developers. But they continue on saying millions of people.
It's only going to cause issues for indie developers who make shit games. Same like same with big name developers.
Probably by Silksong on day one. And it was a game that had a very low budget because the budget is these devs worked on it without direct pay for however long they wanted to do that. It had a these devs are independently wealthy budget of effectively $0. They can price how.
So having come out of it making almost $12 million, there's a hell of a good profit for them.
However low they want. As a result, their return on investment is infinite no matter what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But by charging such a low amount, they are causing lizard brain signals to fire off saying this kind of game
Lizard
is worth $20 and you should expect this game for $20. Good. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Also, if you want to have a quote unquote low budget, yeah, that's what happens when you have 3 core developers producing your game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like this is a fluke. They're trying to imply basically they have like this infinite budget, probably because of the success of Hollow Knight. But they did this before. They had massive success, and well, they earned the right to have this very easy approach to their sequel where they can take their time and really polish it because, well, they're coming off a great success, and I'm assuming, are very wealthy as a result of just the first game, but definitely now even more with the sequel. But you see this idea that people now will have this expectation that games like this are $20. Good. All I'm saying is good. And they continue on saying if enough of those lizard brain signals fire, some kind of games with actual budgets to pay people will need to live are going to get priced out of existence unless they can get some.
What? If enough of those lizard brain signals fire, some kinds of games with actual budgets to pay people who need to live are going to get priced out of existence unless they can get the kind of organic grounds something or other you can't pay for. Then just ensure that they're good games. I'm sorry, that's my answer to
Kind of
that one.
organic groundswell you can't play for. I'm not worried about me.
Oh,
Unbeatable
plan for.
actually is a game like that. It has the kind of following. We'll probably be fine, but we could not price Unbeatable at lower than what we're going to price it for a lot of reasons. Not every game gets lucky like we did, and we did get lucky, and it shouldn't be the default expectation.
Who are you?
No, I think you should just price the game whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's good enough, people will buy it as long as you're not going out there and doing something ridiculous with the pricing. But yeah, I mean, indie games need a little bit of groundswell. I mean, how do you get games like Schedule 1 blowing up out of nowhere? I mean, you know what? I think a lot of indie developers out there could learn a thing or two instead of going off and saying disparaging things about gamers all the time like we see with other indie developers. Maybe just like, I don't know, do your job, produce something.
Yeah, it's like they develop a game, the game flops, and then it's gamers' problem because it's gamers' fault because they're some ist or ism or whatever, and uh, it couldn't just be the fact you made a shit game and no one wants to buy it.
Fun, and then you wait for those moments where some bigger streamers engage with your product and share with their audience, and then that kicks off a big chain reaction. But there's some more.
Yeah, and then when the big streamer does take hold of your game and they don't like it because it's a garbage game, then you blame the failure of the game on the streamer because he's sending his audience to torpedo your game. Yeah.
More reaction on Twitter this time from another indie developer saying, as a dev making a smaller Metroidvania than Silksong, which I originally thought would be fairly priced at 20 USD. What should I price it now? It'll be a 10 to 15 hour long game.
Here's the thing. You don't undercut, because when you undercut, you're just lowering the value of what you're selling. So price it at $20. Let Silksong be the benchmark. It's that easy.
But it was made by one person with
Mm-hmm.
limited dev time and funds. I can't afford to give it away for free. I'm glad to see that the
No, but I'm totally with him here. It'll be a 10 to 15 hour game, but it was made by one person with limited dev time and funds. I can't afford to give it away for free. Make it as good as Silksong was. Price it at $20. They made $12 million in the last 3 weeks. You know, I don't see the problem here.
responses to this were all just saying,
You just got to make a good
sell it
game,
for
is all.
$20. You're good.
Yeah.
Like I think that is a fair price. I think getting into this comparison match between all these indie games is becoming a bit of a problem when one game can all of a sudden disrupt the whole market and all the pricing associated with indie games. I think it's a bit much. But here's the more unhinged responses. A
Oh
game
dear.
creator over here saying, this is a fair statement, and quite honestly, at Team Cherry Games really does a disservice to the industry and other
I saw Scooch-chan. She replied to this one.
developers pricing Silksong so low. The level of work, craftsmanship, years, and you charge $20. I get being pro-consumer, but this would be infuriating to your colleagues and in turn distort gamers' sense of worth.
No. So earlier on, he shared an article that said people have less money now and are buying fewer games, but this person is turning around saying you priced it too low, that's not good, and you're doing a disservice to the industry. We're getting conflicting messages here.
Why do people think they have the right to tell other people what they should price their game at? Like if they want to do it for $20, they should do it for $20. And if gamers start having an expectation of that, I think that's fair. That's a good thing for the industry. But yeah, you can see how disingenuous all of this is. Someone else replies this. They got ratioed into oblivion. This user says, didn't knew who you were until I saw this post made to Team Cherry. I will avoid anything you work in the future because I've never seen so much arrogance and stupidity at the same time. Get bent. And this person responds by saying, I do not care.
How's that for a stinking attitude? And so this he's going off. They're doing a disservice to the industry by pricing their games so low, and then other people saying, "Well, I don't want to do anything with you," and then he turns around and says, "Well, I don't care." It reminds me, I worked at a restaurant, and the managers, wary of stock theft and whatnot, kept the keys, kept everything locked behind. They would issue out only a certain amount of stock for the day, and we ran out of certain items. And when customers complained and said they were going to leave and everything, and we told management, they were like, well, then they must just bugger off. Let them go. Let them leave. That's a stinking attitude. You know what they did? They left and they spent a lot of money somewhere else. It's not good for your business, man.
I will avoid anything you work in the future because I've never seen so much arrogance and stupidity at the same time. Get bent. And this person responds by saying, I do.
In fact, I'm going to go after this, when I'm done recording, I'm going to go after this and comment saying you're proving Bruno's point there.
Do not care. Well, I'm glad we've established.
Thanks for making
no
his
one
case,
cares.
you know.
I don't think people are going to care about anything you create because you have this attitude and you're directly calling out this indie team because you don't like the price of their game because they took their time and they used their resources well and kept a small team so they could actually justify that price point. But anyways, here's some more stuff from Blue Sky.
Oh, geez.
This person saying, by the way, Team Cherry absolutely had the responsibility of giving a heads up about the release of Silksong and accommodating other indie devs in regards to it. Art isn't made in a vacuum. As indie devs, they are absolutely should know how hard it is for other indie devs to be visible. You can't do
This point is just stupid. There's a reason. There's a reason for competitive markets. Silksong's now set. Team Cherry and Silksong have set the benchmark. They're now competitive. They're not undercutting because the quality of the game is good. They're just saying, you know what, you can make good games without needing a bloated development team and millions of dollars to pay staff wages and whatnot, and without having to charge $70 to $100 for the games. Look what we did. So now it's not Silksong's responsibility to do any of what this person's saying. It's now the responsibility of everybody to match or to be competitive.
anything right. You can't even just release a game on your own schedule at your own price. You have to accommodate other indie devs. Like, I'm
No,
sorry,
you don't.
this is a business. You're selling games.
Yeah.
Like, if someone like Silksong, if they want to go out there with their team and sell it at this time with this much announcement beforehand at this price,
They have every
that's
right
their
to do
choice.
so, yeah.
And you know what? If it's that easy, then why don't other people do it too? I don't really.
You see, what they're upset about is they're being shown up, and like other indie games, even big developers like Ubisoft and whatnot, they're being shown, look, you don't have to do all of this crap that you guys are doing to get a good game out and actually make money out of it. That's what they're all upset about.
Know where all this entitlement comes from, but it's not really a good thing. But as you can see, part of this is also that a lot of indie developers are now delaying their games to basically get out of the way of Hollow Knight Silksong. And
That's a bad move.
if that's their call, that's their call. But the amount of indie games that have jumped ship as a result. I mean, you have games like this, right? Getting a lot of traction too with their post. Almost 1 million views, 20,000 likes. I mean, they directly mentioned that they're pushing back their release here because of Silksong.
We learned that
I mean,
Hollow
they
Knight
directly mentioned that. I
Silksong.
appreciate their honesty, but they're one of many indie games that are doing this exact same thing, all pretty much directly mentioning Silksong as the reason they're doing this.
I think
And
it's a
other
wrong
people
move.
would react, again, expressing this message that Silksong's 2-week PR push has done some damage to other indie studios,
No.
and that they didn't think about the impact this would have on other indies and their marketing.
There's a movie with Matt Damon, Christian Bale, and a few other people. I'm not sure. I think it's called Ford versus Ferrari. Do you think that back then, even today, Ford lets Ferrari know what they're doing with their cars when they're releasing something new, when they're doing something new? Do you think Ferrari lets Lamborghini know? Do you think any of them do that? It's called competition for a reason. This is like, oh, we've all got to be on the same playing field. We've all got to... No, crap. This is that woke nonsense idea that everything's got to be a level playing field. Life is not a level playing field. It never is. You can't assure the same outcomes among people born and raised in the same household. How are you going to do that anywhere else in society? And that's where this idea is a cancer.
And it's a bummer that they hope is not replicated. Again, I mean, we've beaten this to death at this point. The fact that there's so much pettiness and animosity towards Silksong and Team Cherry for just releasing this game in the way they saw fit. I don't know what to tell you at this point. That was their choice and it paid off for them. They don't have a responsibility to other indie devs.
No, they don't.
Like, that's just. I'm sorry.
You don't have a responsibility to give your competitors a heads up of when you're going to do something that's going to torpedo them. That's business.
This
Sorry.
is not everyone getting around singing kumbaya and doing what's
Exactly.
best for one another. It's a business, and they had to do what they thought was best for their products. But
and they were right on the money.
End the video on. This person says, I can't be the only one who thinks it's kind of effed up for Silksong to reveal its release date so late. Like, man, you're indie developers. You should understand the struggle that studios go through. Another user says, which studio will be brave enough to say, Silksong can suck my balls, we're not moving? And the original poster says, I pirate Silksong and buy 10 copies of whatever game does that.
Oh boy.
Ah, so much for supporting indie.
But actually, Claire over there has the right idea. Which studio will be brave enough to say, maybe not in those words, but which they should literally just be like, you know what, Silksong came out. We're not going to change our plans and whatever. We believe what actually delaying their products and everything tells me is that they didn't believe in them. They've got no confidence in what they've produced, so they're allowing Silksong to torpedo them.
Developers.
I'm using
The
that
second
phrase
they
a
do
lot, but
something
it
you
works
don't
out
like,
very.
you're going to
It's
pirate
very
their
good.
game and buy 10 copies of whatever other game out there tries to stick it to them. Amazing stuff. Not too surprising to see this sort of response
No.
on Twitter. But this whole thing has been interesting and success well deserved with
Mhm.
Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think anyone was too shocked to see the numbers this game is pulling. I mean, maybe it's a little more than some people expected, but I think everyone knew it was going to get hundreds of thousands of in-game players at any sort of peak point. And this is very impressive stuff in another indie game showing what the industry should be about, getting some reasonable
Exactly.
price games out there, something.
So, do you think Team Cherry, with the three of them, sat and thought, let's make this game and we're going to make tons of money out of it? Well, they probably did, but that wasn't the sole motivation for them making the game. They probably sat down and said, we have this idea for an expansion to our previous thing of Hollow Knight. Let's work on it and see where we're at. Oops.
And, well, just enjoy without breaking their wallets. And this should serve as a lesson for a lot of people in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
especially the
Absolutely.
AAA side
And
of the
that's why they
industry,
hate
who
it.
has
Yeah.
lost their way in many regards, spending insane amounts of money to make slop when they are completely undone by a team of 3 devs.
Yeah, so they're mad because this game made a ton of money and it's really good with three devs and no budget of like tens of millions of dollars for production, and they're mad because they're being shown up by this game. They're being shown that you don't get to price a slop game for $70, get mad at the fans when it bombs. You don't need all of that. You can make a game with like three people, a solid idea, good core mechanics, and enjoyable gameplay and whatnot, and actually make money off of it. And they're mad about it because of that.
Many such cases. But anyways, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for me as well. Yeah, I think what people should have done was just kept their launch dates and everything. Just the other indie developers and whatnot, they should have just continued with what they're doing. The fact that they didn't tells me that they don't believe in their own production. Um, and that they feel they're falling short of a bar that has now been set by Team Cherry and Silksong. So good on Team Cherry and Silksong. Awesome that they've made it so affordable. It's not really affordable for me right now, but yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm it's really glad, and it just proved a point that I made years and years ago, and that you don't need things to be super expensive to actually make money off of it. But that's going to do it for this video. Link to the original video will be down below. Be sure to get your Get Up and Go sorted out with some poggers and power up your gaming with Starforge. Links will be in the description down below. It's 10 and 5% off respectively if you use the links I post. Your purchases will go a long way to helping me out in the long run. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.